And hello, and good morning. That's called hello in some parts of the world. I hope you all are doing well. I'm meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Storm Talk on this 24th day of September, as we are tracking an active day. Another setup where clouds in the area, some showers and some thunderstorms, and we will see this repeat itself for the next several days. So what a change. We've just, flipped the script completely over on our weather pattern here lately. This is not a bad thing. We wanted some change, right? We needed out of the 90s. We need to get some rainfall. We needed some cooler weather. We're getting it all. May not be exactly in the mindset that we envisioned it when we watch a Hallmark special, but still, we're getting it somehow. So let's try to enjoy it while we have it here. All right. As always, you guys can comment on our social pages, whether it is YouTube like Mark has done. We have Facebook. Hello, Brad, watching on Facebook right now. We've got, let's see, I know I had someone from Twitch earlier, and I think I lost where your signal or your comment was there. But you can do it on Twitch as well and on X. So appreciate you guys watching as always. Thank you. And if you have any questions, and I'm sure you will, we'll get to some of that coming up in just a second. But a lot to cover in the short term. Let's start with the wet roads that are showing up there into E-Town. You guys have had some of those heavier downpours, showers, thunderstorms this morning. Boy, it rained really hard in some areas earlier today. Again, plus we needed that. Now we are gearing up for what will be part two of this whole ordeal for this afternoon. We've got the first round of showers that have moved through off to the east. Now we're getting into this nice little pocket here where we're going mostly sunny into western Kentucky. And that is easily going to allow for what we call a destabilization of the setup here. We're going to have at least a modest amount of heating. Now, this is going to fill in. This will all fill in with cumulus clouds fairly quick. It's humid and moisture enough, plentiful amounts of it anyway, above our heads to where all it needs is the reaction of the sun to hit that, and everything just kind of fills in. So we'll fill all that in. It's not going to stay perfectly sunny like that all day, but it is there at a key point of late morning to allow for a decent amount of heating for later on. And that is important because now we have our low pressure that is spinning across areas of, there's multiple of those, but one that we're watching into Illinois that's allowing for that feed right into the Ohio Valley. Now, just about everything is at an angle moving southwest to northeast and is fairly stuck in doing that. There's not a lot of push that is going south or north, not yet. We will see that tug a little more tomorrow, but not today. So whatever develops today is going to race right into your community, depending on where you're at. If you're in Kentucky, anything that develops around Bowling Green, Land Between the Lakes area, Paducah, will eventually build towards central Kentucky. For I would say Muhlenberg County, Ohio County, perhaps Breckenridge, that will be the target for Louisville. If anything develops in that area, it would aim toward Louisville. And if anything develops in southwest Indiana, likely will stay into Indiana, not cross into Kentucky. Not saying your severe risk is lower into areas of Indiana. It's just that you are not going to have as much of a time frame to really weaken the atmosphere enough to, as far as allowing for the destabilization is what I'm referring to there. I'm speaking in dyslexic terms here today. I apologize. But there's not enough time to really destabilize Indiana. But I think central Kentucky has enough of a window to where it shouldn't be a problem at all in getting some showers and storms. This is not going to be a huge outbreak coming our way, but just like we saw yesterday, even a couple of warnings may trigger on your weather radio. You can see the heat and fuel that we need for these storms building up right in that key spot in west central areas of Kentucky that, again, will be sliding into that little gap that is trying to find a little window in. Storm Prediction Center just updated their maps. This is where they got the slight risk that is out a little more east, so along 65 and then into West Virginia is the area they're watching. Fair, and I think some of that is going to be the current development that'll redevelop into the southern part of that outlook. But right now, there's a lot of rain-cooled air in that exact area of the slight, so I think really it probably can be drawn back just a tad more west to include southern Kentucky here. I think would make a little more sense, but man, I'm splitting hairs. The environment is basically the same for all of us, though. Anything that develops today would likely train. So there is a heavy rain threat as far as getting multiple rounds of heavy rain, and there is a brief window to get perhaps some stronger storms to develop. Breaking down these maps a little more from the Storm Prediction Center. Again, Louisville not technically in the slight, just south of us. Everyone is basically into the marginal. So, but everyone does a low end severe risk. tornado potential. We are in that, even though we're not in the slight. Louisville is in the low end tornado potential, and that's just because of the placement of the American flag of the warm sector. We are in that quadrant. So this was the concern yesterday, is that we would be in that quadrant. Today we are. Heating matters. We're going to get a few hours of it. It doesn't look as bad as what I thought it was going to look like. There were some hints we may end up with about 4 hours of sun. That was going to be concerning. Now I'm thinking only about an hour or so of a partly mostly sunny sky before it clouds up. So that does taper the threat down. But still, sun is bad on a day like today. So it has added enough for these ingredients I'm listing here to at least be on the table. This includes your damage and wind potential, and of course, even some hail. I haven't had too many hail reports, so it's possible. Here's the latest HER model. This updates every hour, and its update shows that as we went through 12 o'clock, fairly quiet in the area. Most action east lines up fairly well from what we've seen. We get to about 2 o'clock, we start to see the development in that little pocket of heating that takes shape, continues to develop. Notice across southern areas of Kentucky, these some of the larger cells in southern Kentucky. Louisville may have a second line, maybe not. Most of this may develop south of the city. So there is a chance Louisville could be completely missed on this afternoon round, all the severe risk of central Kentucky. Either way, it's you guys within wave country who are watching here today for that potential for anything to develop, whether it's over Louisville or just to the south. I think we are in that zone that whatever pops can easily go severe. Continues to develop all the way through about 8 o'clock. You can see that really there hasn't been a lot of change. It's kind of like they develop in a strong southwest flow. They develop, move around, and more develop. But it's generally that same area. It's roughly the Ohio River through about Columbia. That looks to be the spot that just keeps seeing repeated rounds of gusty showers and thunderstorms. Once we get past this round, that will be around 11 o'clock to midnight, that will be the last, and everything relaxes after that. So this is a late afternoon and an evening threat that we're looking at on anything on the severe side. And that's where your chances here on storms this afternoon basically will reflect that. There'll be a gradual increase. It's not going to rain all the time, but we'll be in that flow of constant showers and storms. And I'm telling you, it's only going to take 1 or 2 to give you warnings for damage and winds. And there is a low wind tornado threat today. It's not zero, but it is low. Okay, tomorrow we get into a setup that is going to feature that low pressure digging a little more. Here's the center of it. Doesn't go east. Remember, the Atlantic and anywhere this way, that way, no, that way. This is all backwards. That way is closed. So the low has no choice but to sink south. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to go due south through St. Louis and head down into Arkansas. As it does so, boy, it really tightens up the flow over Kentucky. I mean, the wind flow is going to be basically parallel with I-65 and the Gulf of Mexico, just flow and rain straight up in the area. Well, guess what's due south of here? You're right. Helene that is developing. So all that tropical moisture is going to be grabbed and then pulled in that south flow and eventually thrown backwards. But we pull in heavy rain off Helene. We saw this last week and thought how weird this would be to have it, like a cotton candy effect where you pull off rain off another system. It's basically what our low pressure is doing. It's just trying to steal all the thunder from Helene, which is still technically not Helene yet. Maybe it will be this morning. We'll see. It's trying to get organized. It's having a tough time getting close to its center. Looks like today it's doing a better job. Still forecast to be at least a Cat 2, but data still says it could go 3 or 4 as it heads into the Big Bend area of Florida. All the alerts are out for that, and you can see it rapidly weakens once it moves inland, but it gets pulled, cotton candy, gets pulled in by our upper low, which is almost like a bully, really, on the weather map, on trying to steal away the fun there. There's the water temperature still quite warm. Let me get into the future cast to show you, again, that pooling effect. Remember, our low pressure is here. That is causing our weather the next couple of days. And you'll see how it just begins to pull and tug on Helene and just pulls it right into wave country. And then actually it becomes the main low that may linger for several days after that. All right, let's get into your 10-day. And let me know what questions you got on that, because that was a lot to digest. What about tomorrow? Should I cancel outdoor plans tomorrow? Samantha, I don't see much action tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day where we're kind of in a lull. We're kind of waiting for that low to drop south, and we start to get that south flow up 65. So today is kind of a handoff to going back into showery, but your severe potential drops off quite a bit. October 3rd through the 6th. Good weather for you. It's always going to be good, Aaron. I'll look closer at that, Aaron, since that's a different area, but I'll check a gander into it. I'm sure you'll be fine. We should get, after this rainy pattern, by the way, we get into another low pressure, maybe a cutoff low that comes in from the Great Lakes. And I think that one really may have some chilly air with it, but more on that in the coming days. We have strong winds. Good question, Tom. General gusty winds with the leftovers of Helene, nothing excessive. I don't see anything right now that's advisory level, but it will be a noticeable wind. It's going to blow the leaves around and everything coming up as we head into Thursday night and Friday. Now, obviously, you'll get some strong wind with any of the storms today in the area, but as far as general wind, which we haven't had in a long time, that will be Thursday and Friday, and even some gentle winds to the weekend. So there you go. All right, guys, that's a lot to digest. Let me go over the data. We are considering and likely will be upgrading this afternoon to a wave weather alert day for the severe risk across central Kentucky based on that sun pocket. So more on that coming up today on Wave News at noon. Stay close to the wave weather up, guys.